We at the Adventure Bike Shop have used our experience from our own halfway round the world and back travels. To put together a range of products that we think are top quality, will last you a trip, brands we know and trust, products we've used ourselves. Dull products, and what am I going to say? Welcome to the Adventure Bike Shop. This is now getting good.
The Adventure Bike Shop, proud sponsors of
Adventure Bike TV.
On this month's show, we are joined by Nathan Milwood for a review of two bikes, the Yamaha Super Tenere and the Suzuki V-Strom Adventure, part 1 this month. We have a very special Under the Visor featuring Austin Vince and his brother Gerald. We have exclusive video access to the launch of the new Continental TKC70 Adventure tyre. Then we have part 2 of Road Trip. And finally, we asked Tracy Wheeler to look into women in the adventure motorcycle market. Hello and welcome to the 4th episode of Adventure Bike TV. Now, as always, we'll be opening the show with our bike review. But this time we're going to be doing things slightly differently. We're going to be reviewing two bikes and split the review over 2 shows. So enjoy! So, as we've got 2 bikes on this month's test, I need another rider to help me out. Nathan Milwood. Welcome.
Thank you, that's very kind.
Right.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
So maybe just quickly for the viewers, just give us a quick kind of 30 seconds as to who you are, what you've done and where'd you come from?
Well, from Nottingham originally. And I rode home from Australia on a little Australian post bike, 105cc. And then I rode across America and up to Alaska. So I did that, and then I ended up working for a little magazine and doing a few articles for a magazine. And I'm just a casual rider for hire, I suppose.
Excellent, okay, well, looking forward to riding with you.
Likewise, Graham, I've heard many great things about you. I'll do that again.
There we go, that's perfect. Today we've got the Super Tenere and the Suzuki V-Strom. Now I know you're quite familiar with the Suzuki V-Strom already, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got a long-term V-Strom at ABR magazine, and I think we've done 7,000, well, I've done 7,000 miles on it in 5 months. Yeah, really like it. Also ridden the Super Tenere quite a lot as well. And I like that as well. So I like both bikes. They're very different, but likeable equally.
Okay, let's get on them.
Yes, that's right.
Why did we choose the Super 10 and the V-Strom Adventure this month? Simple really. We've looked at the class-leading BMW GS and the KTM 1190 Adventure, but they are not to everyone's taste. And there are many out there who don't want to follow the crowd. So what are the alternatives? Well, there are a lot, and the Yamaha and the V-Strom are just 2 of them, but they are very different bikes. The Yamaha has been around for a few years now. I rode a Super 10 all the way to the Gambia 2.5 years ago, so I'm pretty familiar with it. The V-Strom Adventure is much newer to the market, and it's certainly all new to me. So, a few techie details. Both bikes are a little more old school than the new GS and the KTM. They have some electronics, Traction control and ABS are standard on both, but it's only switchable on the Yamaha. You get 99 horsepower with the Suzuki and a little more at 108 for the Yamaha, but both fall way short of the big boys.
Okay, we have been out on these two bikes for the last 2 days. Nathan, we have. What's your first impressions?
First impressions, well, the Yamaha it feels heavy. When you initially get on it, it feels old technology, especially compared to some of the other bikes we've been riding the last few days. Equally so the Suzuki, they both feel quite old bikes. They've not got any sophisticated technology or electronics on them, but the more time you spend with both bikes, you really warm to like both of them. But would you say they're very different bikes?
Yeah, I'd say as soon as I got on the Suzuki, it felt much lighter, nimbler, not as powerful because it's not. It's what, 10, 12 horsepower less.
Yeah, 12 horsepower less.
But I was pleasantly surprised by the Suzuki. I thought, I mean, I've ridden the Tenere quite a lot before, so I'm used to it as a bike. I wasn't expecting very much from the Suzuki, but it was, it feels like less of a bike, but it was still good.
I think off-road, I did a weekend off-road in Green Lane around Cotswolds on the V-Strom, just on road tyres, and it was actually really good. As long as the conditions were dry, the sort of lightness of the bike and the nimbleness when you're up on the pegs, it made it quite an easy bike to ride off-road. Obviously the ground clearance and suspension travel limit it a little bit, and not being able to turn off ABS is another issue. But
although apparently
well, there
is a way to do that.
But for general green laning, it's actually a lot better than people give it any credit for. So it's a good surprise. And the Tenere, I think the more time you spend on the Tenere, the more it sort of charms you with everything about it.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to get on the Tenere and go, this is kind of a bit of a lump. But over the course of the day, you really like to enjoy the engine, and the handling's really predictable and nice. And even up on the pegs riding off road on this kind of conditions, it's easy. I think it's.
Well, I'm going to have a go a bit later on the Tenere, but I had a quick go yesterday, and it was the thing I found about it for me, being that much taller, was the handlebars were that much higher. I found it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But not to take anything away from.
Did you find that a bit on the? Do you find the handlebars are a bit narrow on the V-Strom, or did you notice that? Or
didn't notice it particularly.
Right.
Although that might be why it felt a bit quicker to turn.
Yeah, they are quite a narrow bar compared to the Tenere.
Yeah.
I think that's what I noticed. But yeah, otherwise, both good bikes off-road. Obviously, you wouldn't call them enduro bikes by a long stretch of the imagination. And I think they'd probably be out-talented by a GS on conditions like this. I think the GS has got a lot more finesse. And the electronics on the GS really help it out. But in fairness, these two bikes are pretty good. Good.
So now we're going to swap the bikes over. I'm going to ride the Tenere, which for me is a bit like going home because I rode one down through West Africa, and you're going to take the V-Strom, which you know very well as well.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Now you see, the problem is when there's two of you doing the review, it all starts getting competitive. And I think I've been challenged to a bit of a power slide competition, but I don't hold out much hope.
It's interesting you said adventure. It makes it an adventure bike because it's bigger, it's got more presence. So an adventure bike is better because it's bigger and more presence.
We will be back next month with the second half of the Tenere and the V-Strom review, including of course the laps from Bob. Now a slight change of pace, with a very special under the visor, not only the legendary Austin Vince, but his equally as legendary brother, Gerald.
James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor.
My name is Gerald Vince, and this is my brother Austin Vince, and we've made a couple of DVDs about our bike trips around the world, and we managed to get them on television.
That's the coup, that's the big story.
Yeah.
Losers get their holiday put on TV.
Well, the reason I haven't gone the same route as Austin is because I'm not very good at public speaking. I've tried it once or twice and it was a disaster. So I'm more of a backroom man when it comes to this sort of stuff. You know, I'm happy to help out at these shows and exhibitions. But Austin's the front of house chap.
When we did Mondenduro, I'd made a few films on Super 8 only, and this would be in like 92, 93, I was teaching Mill Hill, and I was making little fun films about kids on school trips and climbing trips and stuff like that. And they'd goof about, and I'd film it, and then when the film got processed, I would cut it all up and edit it back and glue it back together in the right order in my bedroom, with all the little bits of film hanging on a piece of string. I've got kids at school to help me do it, and then we did the soundtrack completely analog with some DJ decks, and just played all the music and spoke all in one massive live take for these whole films. And so when we did Mondadero and bought this unbelievable £2,000 camera in 1995, that was just insane. The bikes weren't as much as that, and this camera was 2,000 quid, and we all pitched in. And we did the stuff, and we obviously knew when we were on the trip that it was pretty exciting. We certainly knew when we filmed stuff that we'd never seen anything like that on TV ourselves, ever. When we got back from Mondo Enduro and we finally got the show on Discovery, the woman who commissioned it at Discovery said, you know, if you've got any other ideas, we pitched a history travel show, filmed all around, super low budget, daytime Discovery, filmed all around Britain, and the brilliant thing was that they let me just make programs about anything I wanted. Pillboxes, old railways, old canals.
Sewage systems.
Sewage systems, yeah. I did the only documentary ever made about the sewer system in Leicester. It's killer. And during the course of what was to turn out to be like my first nervous breakdown, no, I didn't actually have it, but I learned so much. And all the time I was thinking, oh, if only I'd known this when I'd been shooting Mondo Enduro. And I kept gnashing my teeth thinking how good Mondo Enduro could have been if I'd known just a few things more. So when Dave Greenhow came up with the idea of Terra Circa, I went up to him and I said, can I come on your trip? Because I think I could make the film I meant to make back on Mondo Enduro. That's the idea of what makes an adventure travel film appealing is incredibly straightforward to answer. If it's interesting or entertaining, or even better, both, then that's it. Now, of course, it's in our festival, and it will grow, it will go places, the DVD will sell or whatever, it will achieve a life of its own. What makes something interesting or entertaining, we could of course all have a massive conversation about for a long, long time, and of course not everyone will agree.
We had the 5-minute rule, which was as if you felt like switching it off after 5 minutes, it was out. But there was a lot of films like that, where people had done very interesting trips, but they just hadn't filmed it correctly. And you know, it's a real shame that these people have done a fabulous thing, and you want to hear their story, but they send you this stuff that is unwatchable.
There's hugely what's really true is that the amount of people doing spectacular, interesting, epic adventures, the amount of people doing that stuff is beyond measure, especially once you start going Europe-wide, North America, including in the English-speaking world. There's so much stuff happening. So let's say about 1% of those people are making a film. That's still hundreds and hundreds of films. But of those hundreds and hundreds, only about 5% of them know what they're doing enough to make a film that obeys, dare I say it, the grammar of television with enough rigor to be watchable. Because what people forget is that everybody who they expect to watch their film, or who they want to watch their film, is used to watching TV, however awful it is, created to phenomenally high production values, and with a level of, dare I say, directorship or something like that, that is very, very, very good. So when the amateur goes out there and is having this epic adventure, and they're stumbling around, and the camera's shaky, stuff's out of focus, the sound's rubbish, you can get away with a few things. You know, you can drop the odd ball when you're juggling. You can't drop all of them, because then you're not juggling at all. And and that's one of the things at the film festival we're trying to foster, we're just trying to get people tooled up with the few skills that they need to not muck it up.
Equipment you need to make high quality footage is getting cheaper and cheaper, and things like helmet cam and drones, they're all great, but there's a time and a place for all that in your story that you're trying to tell.
The punchline being that boring people filmed superbly make a boring film. And an interesting, goofy, true individual like Ed March, filmed with crude, slightly crappy equipment, will always trump the gear.
That's correct, yes.
Absolutely, obviously. My grievance, I'll rephrase that. When you get into the deadly world of the forum and the chat room, I've been chagrined to see how many people have misunderstood my message completely, to think that if you own a big motorcycle, there's something wrong with you, or you failed. Which of course you haven't. It's all about, of course, what you do with it. My grievance has always been, I think, with the poser, with the person who spends all the money on the huge bike and all the tricks and the accessories, and will then look you in the eye as a man to man and say, oh, I'd love to do a trip like yours, but I can't afford it. And
that's the thing. You're far better off spending, instead of spending £12,000 on the big bike with all the accessories and the fancy luggage, spend £3,000, still have all the kit you need, and then you've got £9,000 left over to do a trip. Don't spend it all on the bike and say, oh, well, now I haven't got any money left.
Yeah, unless you're independently wealthy, then knock yourself out. Get all the accessories you want. Get the best GPS. Get a £3,000 suit or whatever it is, you know. But our experience, sadly, is that you can go to an event or a weekend, and there's all these people lined up with the gear, and yet, but then they'll tell you, oh, I can't go there, it's too dangerous. Oh, I'd like to do that, but it's, you know, it's too difficult. Oh, you know, that's, and they've got tons of equipment, and for all the equipment they've got an excuse that goes with it. All we want to do is encourage people to get out there, and if they're going to do it on the biggest motorcycle ever bought, fantastic. Massive power to their elbow, huge respect, and we look forward to seeing their film about it when they come back. You probably won't use this bit, but I've got to tell you, if you're me, I get sent a lot of emails from people about asking questions, confused or not quite sure, and they think I know something they don't. They're normally wrong. I don't know anything special, but I get a lot of emails from people who want to do a trip, and they've been to they've probably gone online, they've watched Long Way Round, whatever, and they say, I'd like to do a trip like yours. I've seen this Mondeguro film. A friend of mine lent it to me. That looks great fun. I'd like to do that, but I'm not really comfortable with the idea of handling a GS 1200. So you know, I think I'm going to take a car or something like that. Or so what's gone wrong? It's gone right for BMW. What's gone wrong is that normal people who are intelligent seem to think that if they haven't got a big bike that's called an adventure bike, then they're not allowed to go, or they'd be foolish to go because they'd be on the wrong thing. And even now at Horizons Unlimited weekend, you'll see people looking at Ed March's crappy, trashy scooter, moped, and instead of saying, wow, well, if that can do it, then that's all I need to do a trip, they don't say that. They say, how did you manage to do your trip on that? So even when they're presented with the evidence that there's a guy who spent nothing and had a great time, they still don't believe it. That misconception is what I feel I'm happy to fight against. That's a stupid question. If you know anything about that woman, or have seen her, or spoken to her, why wouldn't you want to be married to her? I mean, it's just insane. You know, I've not had a life of like A-list girlfriends, and then I end up marrying this incredible person. I mean, it's like you would think I tricked her into it or something like that, or she thought she was, you know, she could have done so much better. If I had my life again, and somebody said, okay, you can have all of your motorcycle trips around the world, but you can't have Lois, or you can have Lois and you have to spend your entire life working in a cube in a grey office building, I'd choose the latter, without a doubt. She's more, you know, just being around that woman is more exciting and invigorating than any sunset or watching the wildebeest gamble across the Serengeti or going down the Pan American Highway. None of that counts compared to the love and the friendship and companionship of an exceptional life partner. The thing that no one wants to talk about is instead of doing a trip or whatever, you know, put your effort into charming your wife into coming with you. You know, or you know, put it another way. I mean, it's so great to see couples like Dan and Linz Meller. They're not famous, but they wanted to do a trip, and she had enough fire in her to say, well, I'm going to be your passenger. So she got a license, and they had his and hers DRZ 400s.
It's been fine. That's all I can say about that. We get on. We have our ups and downs, but generally speaking, when it comes to things relating to two wheels, we agree, I think. We've been on some great holidays together, even before Monogiro. We had a fabulous 2 weeks in Morocco that time. I don't remember meeting the guys in Morocco.
Maybe that's when we were cycling.
It must have been.
Oh, okay.
Because we saw when you and me were on the FJ in Morocco, we met a load of guys on the boat back, and they were covered in dust. Clearly been gooning about in the mountains all around the desert somewhere. But there was like 4 or 5 Germans. And they clearly hadn't washed for a month, and they were stubble. And
it's the coolest thing I've seen in my life.
They were, you know, they'd clearly been having a hard time, or just, you know, hadn't they? Those ones we met on the boat. But when we bumped into Rudy and Matthias in Romania, we camped by the side of the river with them that night and had beers and told stories and chatted. And we stayed with them the next day, and we had lunch in a town called Timișoara, and it was the worst food we'd ever come across, I think. The potatoes were still green. The chicken had no meat in it at all. But there they had some dual sport bikes that were much more capable on the rough Romanian tarmac than our modern Japanese sports tourers and ordinary road bikes. And it was then that I realised that there might be a different way of travelling other than the gigantic sports tourers.
James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor.
I think that may have been a first, getting Austin and Gerald in an interview on film together. And for me, something really special. Seeing those two guys, having watched Mondo Enduro all those years ago, absolutely fantastic. So now, advert break, and we'll see you shortly.
We have the largest selection of hard luggage under the one roof in this country. Bollocks.
Ludo Loco. Ludo Loco is a brand new online social community made specifically to suit bikers everywhere. Whether you ride a sports bike, adventure bike, or even a hog, we invite you to join for free. Every member gets access to a host of great features where you can meet new riders from your area and anywhere in the world. Arrange ride-outs, talk about the latest news and gossip from trackside to the other side of the world. Share videos, pictures, blogs with everyone. And no one gets preached to like many other sites. The content is only submitted by people like you. Finally, we give you a great way to sell your bikes or anything else at a price that beats all competitors. So join Ludo Loco, the motorcycle community that's riding forward together.
We offer a wide range of accessories from brands we know, use and trust, like the best sump guards from Alt Rider, the Rocks risers from Rock Speed. That should have been the handlebar risers from Rock Speed. It, do it again.
Welcome back. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we went and spent a couple of days testing a very special new adventure tyre. Another one of the very hotly contested debates in the adventure motorbiking world is that about which tyre to use. Do you go full knobblies or do you go more road oriented? Continental Tyres have come up with one which they see should fulfill both requirements. It's 50-50, 50% road, 50% off-road, the TKC70. They are pitching it as the son of the TKC80, which is the knobbly, and their Conti Trail Attack, which is their road tyre. So we're here on Monday evening to do 2 days of testing for it.
And we've chosen this today to come and have a play on some motorbikes with a brand new tyre. The new Continental TKC70, which is a new number which we've never used before, and it relates to a product which falls somewhere in between our traditional adventure tyres, which is Trail Attack 2 for road and TKC80 for off-road. The new TKC70 almost fits directly in between these two products, with a tyre which gives both mileage, grip on road, and some incredible grip off-road as well.
I think the word to use is surprised. A tyre like the TKC70 designed or claimed to be both good on the road and off. It's a big claim now. We tried it on the road first and we ended up riding in a fairly spirited fashion on some pretty fast things, and do you know what? You could ride with total aggression. It felt quite sporty, it felt very sporty. It wasn't the limitation of the grip at all.
Hi, Nathan Milwood from Adventure Bike Rider, here today at Nick Sanders' makes me nervous. Outdoor Pursuit Centre. We're riding Continental TKC70 tyres. We've stopped here for lunch. We've got a beautiful spread of food. We're going to have a presentation by Nick. And we're going to do some more riding this afternoon, and then some off-road riding tomorrow. So we're going to watch a little presentation now, drink some tea, eat some strawberries, and then go home and cuddle.
You rode as fast as you wanted to. The tyre did not stop you going any faster. And I'm talking about like charging hard into corners on the brakes, tipping the thing over, getting on the gas, and slowly but surely you got more and more faith in it, and it just sort of made you go, hang on a minute, this is like a sports touring tyre. It started raining, didn't make any difference, good grip still. Very impressed with it on the road yesterday. Now I thought because of that there'd be some compromise off-road today. It couldn't be that complete a tyre. Now we only tried it on fire road, sort of rough, I don't know, rough stone, fairly hard packed surface. It's loose, but it's not going to clog the tread like mud would. Again, really quite impressive. I rode a 650 V-Strom. It's a road bike, it's a bit fat and heavy, it's a bit soft, but after a while I got quite a bit of faith in the tyre. Through the mud it was a bit limited, but it's not designed as an enduro tyre to cope with that. I mean, all in all, you've got to be very impressed. I reckon above and beyond the claims that Continental made, and yeah, 10 out of 10. I was most surprised, and for a tyre to do as much as it did on the road and off, its parameters are massive. It's a really capable and super versatile tyre. I think I'd recommend them to GS guys who want to do a bit of gentle off-roading on stuff like fire tracks, but they'd certainly enjoy them on the road.
The tyres are really good actually. Finding on the gravel patches in the middle of the road, coming up that narrow winding stuff. Riding through the gravel didn't cause any drama to the ride. Seems plenty of front end grip, plenty of back end traction, so yeah, all in all, the tyres are proving really good on whatever bike we're swapping from. They seem to perform equally well on all bikes. So overall, really impressed.
So, as you've seen from the feedback from the journalists, everyone thinks this is a great tyre. I gotta say, I agree. And I would like to say thanks to Continental tyres, because we've had a great couple of days. In this month's Top Tech, we're looking at a motorcycle airbag vest. Now, we know airbags have been around for ages with cars, and they've been around a fair while with bikes. But we're looking at the Helite, which comes very fetchingly in black or fluorescent. Now, the main difference between this and some of its competitors is it works on a tag basis. So you attach this to the bike, and when you pull with 30 pounds plus pressure, as in falling off, that releases the air. A lot of the others act like car airbags, so you've actually got to impact something and then they set off. Another advantage with this one is when the air goes off, it sets off the bags inside and they expand, but they don't need to be refolded afterwards. Okay, I'll give you a quick demonstration of how this thing works. Built in, very useful, Knox back protector. Maybe I'll just pop it on. Now, it may seem blindingly obvious to me, but it does go over your motorbike jacket. Obviously you don't want to hide this lovely fluorescent colour underneath. Clips on like so, and it's just that easy. Okay, so here's the gas bottle, the CO2, that inflates it. And here's the little clip that you attach to the bike for when you fall off, which hopefully you won't, of course. Now that requires 30 pounds of pressure, so I can give that a fair tug. What it means is, of course, if you get off your bike and leave it clipped on, which every single one of us is going to do, you're not going to inflate your jacket and make yourself look like a complete noon in front of your friends. Oh dear, a noon is, but... Noon? Well, what's a noon? I've no idea. Now, of course, it's time to give it a test. We're going to give it a 30 pound plus tug and see what it feels like when it expands. I have been warned that it feels a little snug very quickly when it goes off. So for this, I'm going to call in the producer to give it a 30 pound plus tug. Okay. Ooh. At least it feels a bit cosy. I'm not joking. I think it's doing wonders for my bad back though. Right, to replace the cylinder, it's pretty quick and simple. It comes with an Allen key, so use that to undo this piece at the bottom, pretty much all the way out. Then you have to push back the little lock piece, and that just pops back in, like so. And then you tighten it back up. Simple as that. So it's pretty quick. Make sure you take the old bottle out before you do this, and don't put the new bottle in until it's done. Now it's the second part of Road Trip. One of the many great things about adventure biking is that the trips do not necessarily need to be vast continent spanning extravaganzas. The adventure is very much in the mind of the adventurer, which is why we are starting yet another new feature that we're calling Road Trip. The rain and chur had pretty much soaked everything, so once again we took the soft option. Rhine Camping Waldshut pretty much does what it says on the tin. A campsite in Waldshut on the bank of the River Rhine. A river swollen with all that water that had been pouring on us all day. So yesterday, having packed our tents away in the most horrific conditions where everything's pouring with rain, the tents are wet, you're wet on the outside because it's raining, you're wet on the inside because you're hot and sweaty because you're wearing all your bike gear whilst you're putting your tents away. So then we rode through the rain for 3 or 4 hours, and we decided the best thing to do would be to find a campsite that has rooms, where we stayed at Rhine Camping, and decided to whiz into town for a quick beer and get some cash out. Couldn't find any bars, although we worked out this morning that's because the bars were just further along the street, apart from one. And actually, when you think about it, being in a German bar on the night that Germany beat Brazil 7-1 was not a bad place to be at all, even though it was full of very, very dodgy looking German blokes. The next morning we were hopeful of at least a dry start to the day, as we headed up over the Schwarzwald, the Black Forest. And for just the second time that week, the roads were not masquerading as rivers, and we were able to take full advantage of another recommended route, the A500 right through the centre of the forest. Once again though, our riding joy was short-lived, and it was back to the all-familiar rain. Our enthusiasm for another night of camping in the drizzle was, to be fair, less than 100%. However, we did try 2 campsites on the outskirts of Karlsruhe, which remarkably were full. So we had no choice but to head for another hotel, where we proceeded to attempt to dry out a bit more. The complexity of removing the visor was proving to be a little bit much for my sodden brain. Once it was off, I was trying to show the camera how the rain had been too much for even the pin-lock visor insert to cope with.
I was just so desperate to be able to.
We decided that some extreme action was required after the extent to which our feet were wet yesterday. Mark will explain what we had to go and do.
Mark used a little bit of inspiration and walked up the hallway to steal a roll of bin liners from the cleaning service lady.
Not steal, just borrow.
We'll just borrow them. We will return them once we get back to London. However, my boots are now waterproof.
And Trev came up with a new way of drying out his gloves.
We've caused a short circuit.
Say that again.
Gaffer tape socks. What every adventure bike ride requires. Or sunshine, whichever is.
The evening saw us back watching the football, although this time it was slightly lacking in atmosphere after the Germany-Brazil game.
It's messy. We're messy because of his height and
In the morning, we were again hoping for a little less rain, and we were rewarded with our first full dry day. Our last but one day would see us heading towards the world-famous Nürburgring, and I couldn't resist filming the German number plate in front of me that I'm sure meant something entirely different to us than it did to him. No trip for me would be complete without at least one stop at a low-cost supermarket. We even found a bakery at this one. Despite having been to the Nürburgring before, I still managed to get lost. Nope, that wasn't it.
At last, and in bright sunshine, we arrived at the track. I thought those foreign bikers might have been gone, not even a nod in that direction. Once we'd worked our way through and out up onto the main grandstand, we were surprised to see a racing team hard at work practicing their pit stops.
Trouble is, we're looking at something on Zoom. There's the slightest movement, it looks like it's just wobbling around like nobody's business.
Obviously, those 3-second stops do not come without a lot of practice.
Yeah. Big class going on between 3:30 and 5.
The noise in the distance indicated the presence of the drift school. After the disappointment of not rafting, we were beginning to wish we'd booked it. We also found the German heavy metal crowd in attendance. With a day of good weather finally in our pockets, we dried out the tents in the evening sunshine of camping Nürburgring.
Today I will be mostly dressing as a middle-aged man who used to have a body to be proud of and hasn't grown up to the fact that he no longer does.
Our final day was back to what had started to become our constant companion on this trip. Yep, you've guessed it, more rain. To make matters worse, despite being on time with the Eurotunnel, we were held in queues for over an hour. With the value of hindsight, booking Friday afternoon at 5 PM was not our best move. French rush hour traffic, it would seem, is every bit as bad as ours. So, despite the rain, this had been a great road trip. Old friends and new. A few surprises, including a few we'd rather not have had. New places, new roads, and of course plenty of beer. But you know the best bit about these trips? Getting home. So that was road trip. Now it's time for Girls on Gravel.
We really care about the adventure motorcycle market and try to make it as many shows as possible to see our customers. So if you can't come to the shop, come see us at a show.
We stock the best adventure bike clothing on the market,
including Climb and Ribbit,
and other brands that we do trust as well. And as you can see, we take this very seriously.
Welcome back from the break. Now it's time for Girls on Gravel. I set my friend Tracy a little task.
Hi, my name is Tracy. I'm an adventure motorcycle rider, and Graham sent me the task of finding out why there isn't as many women in the adventure motorcycle arena. So that is what I did. I got a group of girls together and we spent the day finding out why. So ladies, what is actually putting you off adventure motorcycling?
For me, personally, I'm scared. Literally, really scared of it. I don't think I've got control of my bike. I don't know how to control my bike, so it does scare me.
Right, okay.
Gradients, the gravel, all sorts. It really puts me off. Hi, my name's Julia. I am a driving instructor. I've come here today. I'm being wrangled here by my husband. He's very naughty. I didn't know I was going to do this morning. The bike I ride is a Honda 700, and I'm going to have a crack at doing a little bit of off-road work this morning. So God help us.
And my bike is blinking heavy. If that goes down, can I pick it up? Especially when it's loaded.
Hi, I'm Maria. I ride a Triumph Tiger 1050 and I'm a project officer.
The height, because I'm quite short, so most adventure bikes are tall and just getting on it, and if it falls, like how do I get back on it?
Hi, I'm Rana. I work in the film industry, so this is very weird being in front of the camera. I've got a Suzuki SV 650 and I've got also a Honda CBR 600, so very much into my sports bikes. But I would love to go and do a little adventure.
It's something I've always wanted to get into, but I've never had the chance. And by the time you get to our age, everybody now knows how to do it. So I'm a little bit kind of nervous about going out with people who've done it a lot.
Yeah.
And just doing something silly like falling off. I mean, falling off doesn't scare me as such, but I don't want to hold anyone back in a group that's used to doing it. So,
Hi, my name is Kathy. I'm the director of a shipping company. I ride a BMW 1200 GS. I also have a Honda 250 Super Dream, so depending on what I'm in the mood for, I can take one for a spin.
This is why I've ended up on my own when I ride abroad, because women don't want to go, because they find they think, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that, and what happens if I drop the bike, and what happens if I get a puncture? You know, you can do it. Have a little faith, you can do it. I think would it be easier if you saw a girl do it before you, in front of you?
Possibly, yeah.
Would it give you the confidence to
sometimes,
she
because
can do
then
it?
like some girls are really good, and so you think, well, then I'm not gonna match her.
No.
And so then it's a whole like psychology thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's silly, but you know, I normally go, if he can have a go at it, I'm having a go at that.
Yeah.
You know, I think the same thing is, I don't know if it's right, is it the same with girls? If you do see a girl do something, will you have a go at it? Not usually. No. Oh, you have a go today.
Okay. Generally, if I see anybody doing anything that's like fun, I'll give it a go, if they're a girl or a guy. It's just until you're comfortable doing something, it's nice to do it with people of a similar ability.
Yeah, same level.
And a bit more sensitive, maybe, you know, so you don't feel like you're going to get laughed at until you've fallen off a few times, and then it's funny.
I laugh at myself when I fall off, so that's I put it on YouTube, that gets rid of it straight away, because then everybody can see you've fallen off.
You've owned it from the beginning.
Yeah, that's it, it's done that. It's done now.
Brilliant,
yeah.
I like that.
No, I have to fall off and have a cry, and then I'm okay with it. I'm such a girl.
I can't hear the bike.
Kit is made for 29-inch leg women of a certain shape.
Who sit on the back.
I agree.
Who sit on that? Yeah, they're trophies. Which is lovely, if that's what you want to be, but then, hang on a minute, I need to move on my bike, especially adventure bike, and you need to move.
It's true.
Because you pick your feet up on your pegs and your trousers are up here, yeah, that's safe.
Generally, I find that ladies' trousers, the knee protection is somewhere in the mid-thigh area.
Yeah, or down here.
Yeah. Well, that's it's too high up for me, so I have to wear men's trousers, which then, of course, you've got the problem of men don't have hips. Or asses.
No.
So it's always
you stand on the bike and catch the seam in the wrong place.
Yeah.
You don't just stand up quite quickly so you can Yeah.
I think they need to get more women involved with the design of kits.
And it doesn't have to be pink.
Yeah,
I know.
It doesn't have to be pink.
I won't wear pink. So I wear pink t-shirts, but I won't wear pink kits. I reckon we should do the Taffy Dakar next year.
Where's that?
It's here.
It's here.
It's based here. Where
And
we
what
are
do
now.
they do?
It's orienteering.
Oh,
it's either road, but it's road or off-road.
Oh.
It's as off-road as you want it, and it's as road as you want it. And it's good. It's real good fun, and I don't think there's a ladies' team.
Well, if we could get somebody to get some smaller bikes, so we not have to take our own bikes out.
I'm sure that AJP would be interested in doing
yeah, let's get them to do that.
We're here today with AJP Motors, and Craig, who has kindly lent us some motorbikes. At this moment in time, he's showing the girls some few basics of how to pick up a bike, just in case you ever drop it. As we all know, what happens when you go away adventure riding.
You just do that till it's there, and then walk towards it to pick it up.
That feels fine.
You look quite comfortable on the home.
That's fine, I'm quite happy with that.
But getting on is a little different story. They're tall, I'm short. See how it goes, I don't know. So yeah.
Just put the foot on the peg. Just worry about getting the foot over, rest on the peg. That's it. I mean, that's how you're gonna. That's your default position with the stand up. That'll kind of be your default resting position.
I'm just excited at this stage. I just want to get on it and give it a go. Not nervous so much as excited. Yeah. Probably fall over, but that's fine.
I'll say that. I have changed this morning. So I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic. And that's just the start. Till I actually move. And then we'll see.
Yeah, that helps. That really helps. Because I'm not quite nervous enough. Let's go and just freak her out.
That was wicked. Can we do a jump now?
Really cool.
Brilliant. It's just amazing how quickly it all becomes natural. Like getting on and off that already just
feels a bit more natural, doesn't it?
And I wasn't really enjoying it. It was good. Got to start my new adventure.
I think that this would be great for people such as ourselves, guys and girls, that just want to do that little bit of off-roading, but not the deep crap.
Yeah.
And just do like that morning of talking it through and what your worries are, because I don't know, just the thought of getting on to do this. The first thing I said to you, I've got like, I didn't want to try on this. Yeah. It's just getting past that, isn't it?
Discussion this morning about adventure riding and your little spin that we've just been on now. How do you feel about it now?
absolutely brilliant. It was amazing. And it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. It was exciting and you have to pay attention, and it was a bit technical, but it was great.
That was absolutely amazing. It's everything I thought it would be. It's everything I've wanted to do for a long time, and it was brilliant. And it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. There were some challenging bits. I did almost come off at one stage, but that's fine. I'm really pleased I've finally done it. I feel like I can actually talk to people now who've also done it and be able to say, yeah, I know what that feels like. But this is just a start, and I would really, really like to do more of it. And more harder stuff, a few wheelies, bit of hill stuff, absolutely up for that.
Yeah, amazing. I was so amazed at what I was actually able to do from this morning. I was really nervous on the bikes, and then suddenly we're going through the river. It's a river. And it's like just a really good feeling of like actually doing it. And all those things
you did it more than once.
I didn't have to do a course to do it, so it was all good.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've just come back from our trail ride, which is just amazing, like phenomenal on what we could actually do. With even just like half an hour or like half a day of actual training, or just like going through like how to get on a bike, shifting your weight, just having the confidence in yourself to be able to do stuff and not panic that you're gonna fall off or let somebody down. And yeah, Craig at AJP was really good at giving us some instructions, and we had a little ride around and then we were off, and it was amazing. We went through a river crossing, and yeah, I can't wait to go back, get rid of the sports bikes and buy an adventure bike, whatever brand. It doesn't matter what size now, I can get on and off it. So yay, thanks very much.
Yeah. It was a couple more times where I thought, oh, a big heavy bike. But yeah, it's good. I would have been happier on my clothes, I think.
It was kind of scary and freaky, but amazing. I never thought I would be able to take a bike just even round the gravel. This morning I was frightened about parking my Triumph on a gravel car park. Everywhere that the girls have been on the AJPs except through the water, I took the Triumph. And it was just really exhilarating. I did go through the water, but on one of the little bikes. But yeah, I want to do it again. Can I have one of them bikes, please? Can I do it again? I really want to do that again.
I was really negative. Really negative. Didn't realise what I expected until I actually got out there with you. When I did it was lovely. I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm thrilled. And I will do it again.
Okay, this morning, absolutely terrified. And then when we went on the gravel, had a little go, felt the balance of the bike. I thought, still a bit dodgy this morning. And then we went out and I absolutely loved it. So I am really chuffed my husband brought me up to see. And I probably will do it again. It was awesome.
Can we go maybe?
Definitely. So today's been an absolute rage of emotions for these ladies. They've gone from saying they can't do it, saying that they're too frightened, saying that they're too nervous, what happens if this happens, what happens if that happens, to going out, doing it, coming back, loving it and wanting to do it again. I'm amazed at the ladies' transformation today. They've gone from 4 ladies who were shaking, nervous, to 4 ladies that want to do the experience of the Taffy Dakar and apply to have a team on that. I am absolutely thrilled. Everything I wanted to do, which was to get ladies into adventure riding and to get ladies to where they know they can do these kind of things on bikes. You don't have to just ride everywhere everybody else goes. You can have an adventure and you can go off-road. I really, really hope the ladies do continue with this kind of riding. The off-roading, the narrow lanes, the testing themselves, their abilities and taking themselves out of their own limits. I really, really do. This is absolutely fantastic what's happened today.
So, that was the show. Thanks for watching, and don't forget that awesome competition. You can enter it at www.adventurebiketv.com. We'll see you next time.
Well, I really like you from this angle, Graham.
It's the way the light's shining
Yeah,
through
it
it.
does shine, it illuminates you, makes you look effervescent. Right, we're going to watch a little presentation now, drink some tea, eat some strawberries, and then go home and cuddle. with Graham when he gets here later, because he's such a handsome man. And can't wait till he's bedridden and he can't escape from our evil clutches. And we can him when he's incapacitated.
He's going in the outtakes at the end of the show.
That's alright, Graham Hoskins, you handsome man.
I'm joined by the very, very tight and the very, very sexual Mr. Nathan Milwood.
No, we can't use that.
Oh, we can.
Well,
I've been brewing that for the last 10 minutes in that bike. You know, let's see how it feels.
Right then.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Tracy. I'm an adventure motorcyclist, and Graham asked me, oh, hell.
We are the sole UK stockist of the Redverse 10, the original park your bike in the garage 10. We also have a range of tents and other camping equipment from a number of trusted brands. That was